Kyra's ears exploded with a sharp buzzing as the world around her froze. Cars stopped. People hung mid-step like broken machines. Her chest pounded. She spun in circles, heart racing, trying to scream, but no sound came out. The sky flickered. A streetlight blinked between day and night, flashing like a dying signal. Then it hit her. A violent flash. She was strapped to a metal table. Cold lights above. Strange voices around her whispered, "Subject 9 is waking up." She crashed to her knees, gasping. What was that? A memory? A dream? Her hands shook. She wasn't supposed to remember that. The world snapped back. People moved again, walking past like nothing happened. But Kyra knew something was wrong. She locked eyes with a man across the street. He was staring right at her black suit, no expression. When she blinked, he was gone. The buzzing returned, louder now. Her head pulsed with one terrifying truth. She wasn't who she thought she was. And something inside her had just started to wake up. Kyra ran. She didn't know where, she just needed to move. Her skin burned like something inside her was trying to break out. Every time she stopped, the buzzing came back, sharper, stronger. She kept seeing the man in the black suit. No matter which street she turned, he was there, just standing, just watching. She slammed into someone. A young man about her age. Grabbed her shoulders. "You're awake," he said, breathing hard like he had been running too. His name was Leo. Somehow she knew him, but they had never met. "They're after us," Leo whispered. "You see them, right? The suits. They don't let us remember, but we're breaking through." Kyra's heart dropped. She wasn't alone. Suddenly, black-suited enforcers appeared, stepping out of walls, forming from thin air. Leo grabbed her hand. "Run now or they'll reset you." They sprinted as the enforcers gave chase, moving like shadows. Kyra's vision flickered again. Gunfire, battles, training she didn't remember learning. This wasn't her first escape. She had done this before. Somewhere, somehow. She just didn't know when. Kyra's lungs burned as she and Leo darted through tight alleys. The black-suited enforcers were too fast, silent, unstoppable. One appeared right in front of them, raising a glowing weapon. Without thinking, Kyra moved. Her body reacted on its own. In a blink, she disarmed the enforcer and knocked him out cold. She stared at her hands, shaking. "How did I?" Leo's eyes widened. "You're activating. They programmed us with skills, but the triggers were locked. The more you remember, the stronger you get." Kyra's mind spun. "Who did this to us?" Leo pulled her forward. "We were made for something. We're not normal. And this world..." His voice cut off as the sky flickered like static. Buildings shimmered, warping for a split second. The city was fake. A cage. Suddenly, a painful surge shot through Kyra's head. Images poured in: combat training, alien symbols, a voice calling her, Subject 9. She wasn't living her life. She was trapped in someone else's test. Leo's grip tightened. "They're going to wipe us soon. We have to find the core. It's our only way out." The city wouldn't stop flickering. Windows melted, streets bent, like the world couldn't hold its shape anymore. Kyra pressed her hands to her head as the buzzing returned, this time not in pain, but as a message. She saw it now. A map, flashes of tunnels, hidden doors, symbols under the streets. It wasn't random. The patterns had been burned into her mind. Someone or something wanted her to find it. Leo watched her carefully. "You're seeing it, aren't you? The exit. They buried it in us. Why me?" She whispered, heart pounding. "You're the key," Leo said. "They called you Subject 9 for a reason. You were never just another test. You're the one they fear waking up." Sirens screamed. The enforcers were closing in, cutting off streets, sealing the city like a trap. Kyra's vision cleared, the path shining in her head. "I know where we need to go." Leo's face hardened. "Then we move, fast." The countdown had already started. And if they didn't reach the core in time, everything, even their memories, would be erased. Kyra and Leo broke through the last steel door, diving into the dark tunnels below the city. The map in Kyra's head guided them, step by step, like it had always been there, waiting. At the end of the tunnel, they found them rows of glowing pods, stretching as far as they could see. Hundreds of people, silent, unmoving, sleeping. Kyra's hands trembled as she touched the glass of one pod. A woman inside, peaceful, trapped in the same lie Kyra had just escaped. "They're like us," she whispered. "They're still dreaming." Leo checked the control panels, his voice tight. "We can wake them. But once we start, the enforcers will come hard." Kyra didn't hesitate. She slammed her hand on the release. The pod hissed open. The woman gasped, eyes wide with terror and memories. Suddenly, enforcers stormed the chamber. Weapons drawn. Before Kyra could run, something inside her snapped. A power surged from her body, blasting the enforcers back like a shockwave. She stared at her hands, stunned. The real Kyra had finally started to break free. And now, others were waking up too. Kyra didn't remember being captured. One moment, she was fighting. The next, she woke in a cold white room, strapped to a chair. Across from her stood the architect, tall, pale, with eyes like burning silver. "You're awake," he said calmly. "Good. It's time you knew the truth." His words shattered everything. Earth wasn't real. The city, the people, the life she remembered, it was all part of a simulation, a controlled test built by his species. Humanity had been created, trained, and shaped inside this false world. They were not citizens. They were not free. They were weapons being perfected for a war beyond the stars. "You were never meant to wake up on your own," the architect sighed. "You were meant to be used." Kyra struggled against the restraints. The architect smiled. "You can return to the system, forget all of this, and live your quiet little lie. Or you can be erased completely." Her pulse pounded, her power humming just beneath her skin. Kyra made her choice without hesitation. "Erase me if you can. I'm done being your weapon." Alarms screamed through the architect's tower as Kyra's power exploded, shattering her restraints. She slammed her fist into the floor, sending a shockwave through the walls. Guards rushed in, but she was faster now. Her body knew how to fight. Leo's voice crackled in her earpiece. "I'm inside the system. I can break the locks, but you need to hold them off." Kyra sprinted through collapsing corridors, tearing through enforcers, her memories returning with every strike. She wasn't a victim. She had been built for war. Leo hacked deeper, unlocking the sleepers spread across the city. Subject 4 is awake. Subject 15 is awake. They're remembering. Everywhere, people began to wake up mid-simulation, confused, angry and ready to fight. The system broke apart. Streets cracked. Buildings flickered between the false city and the cold walls of the alien facility behind it. Kyra crashed into the architect's control room. "Your experiment's over." The architect's silver eyes narrowed. "No, this is only your first layer." But Kyra smiled. "Then I'll tear through every layer you've got." The rebellion had begun. And they weren't stopping now. The city crumbled around Kyra as she sprinted toward the core. Walls flickered. Skies shattered like glass, revealing flashes of cold metal and alien machinery behind the false world. The simulation was collapsing. Leo's voice rang in her ear. "I've cracked the final gate. Get to the core and shut it down before they lock us in." Enforcers swarmed the collapsing streets, but the newly awakened sleepers were fighting back. Everywhere, the hidden soldiers rose, people tearing out memory blockers, seizing weapons, and pushing through the system's defenses. Kyra reached the core, a massive glowing structure, humming like it was alive. As she placed her hands on it, visions flooded her mind. The truth, the real war, the other worlds waiting outside this prison. The architect's voice echoed around her. You shut this down, you end the test. You awake to a reality far worse. Kyra's heart thundered. I'd rather face the truth than live your lie. She triggered the core. Light exploded. The simulation collapsed completely, pulling Kyra and the others into the real world where their real bodies were waiting, and the real war had already begun. Kyra jolted awake, gasping for air inside a cold metal pod. Around her, hundreds of others were waking too, Leo, the sleepers, all of them pulling free from tubes and wires. They were no longer in the city. This was a giant alien facility orbiting a planet she didn't recognize. Their bodies were stronger, faster modified. They had been soldiers all along, created and trained inside the simulation for one reason: to fight. Leo stared out the window. His voice dropped. We're not alone. Outside, massive alien fleets moved in, ships bristling with weapons. The architects weren't running, they had been waiting. Kyra found a control panel. It wasn't locked anymore. Memories clicked into place: weapon systems, battle plans, training files. This wasn't a prison. It was a launch station. They called us weapons, Kyra whispered. But we're more than that. We're a forgotten army. And now we remember who we are. Leo smiled. Then it's time to take the fight to them. The experiment was over. The soldiers were awake, and humanity was finally ready to fight back. The space station trembled as Kyra and the others prepared for battle. Outside the thick glass, alien warships blotted out stars, closing in like shadows hungry for blood. The architect's final test had become a real war, one that could decide the fate of humanity. Kyra stood at the command bridge, her hands steady on the controls. The soldiers around her, once asleep, now awake, were ready. They carried memories of a fake world and the skills to fight in the real one. A siren blared. The enemy fleet unleashed a storm of energy blasts. The station shook, systems failing. But Kyra's voice rang out, sharp and clear. This is not the end. This is the beginning. They made us weapons, but we're warriors now. For Earth. For all of us. The station's defenses fired back, beams cutting through the dark. Explosions lit the void, turning the battlefield into a deadly dance of light and shadow. Kyra's eyes burned with fierce hope. We were the experiment. Now, we're the resistance. And the war beyond the stars had only just begun.